good with the pea gravel.
We're good with the pea gravel.
That was fun. Lugging those bags back and forth this week.
Yeah, nothing like hole and rock. But
is that a saying? What's up and welcome to an all new episode of Unwrapped. My name is Daria.
And I'm Toni.
And we have some fun stuff to talk with you guys about today. We are going to start by talking about the reality show Love is Blind and how we think modern day love has evolved, to say the least. Are relationships lasting longer these days? Is the modern day love connection working? What do we believe is the secret to true love and long-lasting relationships? We're going to dive into all of that. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for watching. We really enjoy doing this with you. And if you guys can, the best way to support us is to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn your notifications on so you guys find out when we drop new episodes, which is every Thursday for YouTube. But we also have Patreon exclusive episodes that drop every single Tuesday. Those episodes tend to be a little more juicy, a little more controversial because it just feels like a smaller, safer setting. And we also just Unwrapped, our newest series on Patreon, which is Wrestling Stories, where I go into all of my old wrestling stories, controversial or not, and I tell the real behind the scenes stories that you guys have never heard, I promise you, anywhere else. Stuff I would not say on the podcast, but now I am free and I say whatever I want.
Yep.
And they're exciting. But welcome to Unwrapped. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Love is Blind. So it's a very popular reality show. I'm sure a lot of you guys watch it. It's on Netflix. We've watched like 90% of the season that just dropped, but I think the reunion dropped and we haven't seen those yet. But essentially, for those of you that don't know what it is, you are falling in love with someone blindly because you are communicating behind these walls and pods where you cannot see what the person looks like whatsoever. You are just talking about life, experiences, personalities. You're dating through a wall, essentially. Yeah. At the end of the show, you have an opportunity to either propose to the person and then you get to see them face to face for the first time, or you don't propose and you never get to see them ever. And ever.
No, so you go home and search them on Instagram.
Yeah, and then you look them up on Instagram and then they end up connecting. And then you have 30 days to get married at the end, or we see they leave each other at the altar. They say no once they get to the altar.
Right.
Let's talk about it, babe. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. So the reason this has been such a hot topic for us this past week, like in our own relationship, because I love the show. We're reality junkies at this point, this type of reality.
Junkies. And it's like, for me, it's like watching a car accident. Like, I know I'm not supposed to do it, but I just really want to see what happened. I want to make sure everyone's okay. I want to see what's going on. So I watch these. My wife got me hooked. Prior to this, I was not a reality show junkie, except for like Housewives. But now here I am watching Love is Blind religiously.
Because you're living that housewife
reality. The housewife
You don't have
life.
to watch it anymore. No, so it's been coming up so much for us because, the new season just came out that we've been watching. I wanted to bring it up today and like really dive into it because of the facet of the marriage thing. And we're going to get into a little bit more about my past and maybe why I think these things or whatever. But the fact of like, what is this show doing to society's vision of what marriage is? And it kills me because I love the show. But what is it saying about marriage? The fact that they're forcing these people to get married after only, meeting behind a wall. And then for like 3 weeks, I think they're in the pods. And then you have 30 days to get married. And I'm just like, I understand for the show, it's like you need beginning, middle, end. But
you need
marriage is such a real thing and such a strong commitment that I think that needs to be taken so serious that I feel like they're making it into a joke a little bit, and that bothers me deep down, but probably only because I've come so full circle in my life.
Right.
And the age I'm at, and the place I'm at, and even before we got married, I like really felt very strong about marriage. And that may sound contradictory because of the fact that I am divorced, but it's because of what I've gone through that has made me understand now at the ripe old age of 34 what marriage actually means and how special it could be.
Right.
And I think
but also to your point, like, since you've been through it before, what a strong commitment marriage is. Like, it's not only the love part, it's
the partnership part.
But I was also going to say the financial part. Like, when you're married, there's a lot of high stakes. You are now combining your income. You get divorced as long as you're married like 5 years or something, like you're splitting everything. Like there's a lot of commitment that goes into marriage, especially nowadays, that I feel like getting married in 30 days to a complete stranger essentially is scary.
Mm-hmm. And it's like taking this like beautiful like commitment and making it into a mockery a little bit.
Yeah. Well, because like, listen, I have a rule of thumb for time in a relationship at which you pretty much know the person. And I think you're always evolving and growing. And like, I think we've been together over 3 years now, and I think we're still learning new things about each other. But my like bare minimum is 2 years. I've been in a lot of long-term relationships, and I consider myself a serial monogamous. And I
don't think that's a thing.
I think that's a thing. I just made it a thing. I firmly believe you don't really even know the person till like 2-3 years in, because you have the honeymoon phase. Everything's butterflies and rainbows. We all do it and it's not malicious or intentional. It's just you want to be the best version of yourself, even if some of that isn't fully who you are. My dad always said this saying that rings true here. It's like, judge a person by how they act on their worst day, not on their best day. And we're all on our best day in the honeymoon phase. Like we're all on best behavior. We're not showing each other the trials and tribulations yet. We haven't gone through life together yet. Maybe we're still living separately. You have your life, I have my life, we date, whatever. Like you're just not there yet. Especially these people, like they only live in the real world
for 30
days before tying the knot. Like that's just not enough time. It's not enough time to see your habits, your real habits, your family, how you interact with your friends, like what your day-to-day is like. Like it's just not enough time. So I'll say my number one issue with it is the time constraint.
You know what? I'm just thinking about this now.
Tell me.
But I think that it's twofold. I think that it is what you said. It's not even enough time to get to fully know the person.
Right.
But a little bit of devil's advocate, I guess. I think that you should always continue to date your partner, because you're always changing. I'm always changing. And you're always getting to know each other deeper and deeper. Right. Always. Number one, the commitment you make to somebody when you get married and you were like in it, like we are partners in life now.
Right.
Like we're like two became one. That takes time to build that.
Right.
How are you supposed to say, all right, I'm committed to you? Like when I just met you, like that takes time and energy and like dedication to each other and I'm not saying that there needs to be a time like limit, but I think 30 days is not enough to build that relationship where like I am fucking there for you through everything.
Yeah, no. It's not. I think the couples that do make it on shows like this, because there's like a very small percentage, but they either A, got lucky and actually found that person, and that was like luck because they wouldn't know that till years later, or they've really chose to fight through all the things that came up along the way and just stick it out and stay together. But again, I think it's like luck, because finding that person and knowing that early on it's just not possible. I think you need more time.
Right.
So, all right. So coming from your perspective, you were married for 10 years, essentially, then divorced. Then your ex-girlfriend proposed to you. You guys were engaged. You broke it off. Mm-hmm. And now we are, of course, happily married. Mm-hmm. So from your experience and your perspective, like, what are things? Now, I'm sure there's things you did the first time around that you wouldn't do the second time around. And your finding love experience at 19 is definitely different than at 30. So, like, what do you think the biggest difference is? Like, were you not ready? Were you not mature enough to even pick a life partner? Like,
yeah.
What do you think it was?
So many of you guys don't know this, and I'm sure you wonder where I came from popping up.
She came from Mars, people. She's an alien.
Yeah. But yes, I got married when I was 19 to somebody that was 15 years older than me. But I want to start this out with saying I grew up so sheltered. Like, I moved out when I went away to college, and I was in my dorm room, and it was my 18th birthday, and it was on a Friday. I came home for my birthday weekend, and 18, and I got home. I went to school all day, drove back home. Maybe it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon by the time I get home, and I'm making plans to go out with my friends for my birthday. My parents are like, no, you're home for the weekend. Your curfew is 9 o'clock. Like, you're not going out.
9 o'clock curfew at 18.
Yeah. So I think that I think this is perfect. Learning what I've learned now over my adult life.
Right.
I was so sheltered back then. I didn't even understand what the commitment was. And I got married because I got pregnant. Right. And my dad said, you have to get married before this baby comes. And that was just that. He was very like old school, traditional Italian. He thought that's the way it was. He also believes like women don't work and you stay at home. And, you know, okay.
But your dad was great.
Yes, but he just had very like traditional values.
Can I give the contrast of our upbringings for a second so they have perspective? I was the opposite of sheltered. And Toni and I always talk about the good and the bad of both because now we are raising my stepchildren, Toni's children, and we have to make these decisions on how much to expose them to, etc. And I was unsheltered. I mean, I was probably 12, 13 years old stealing wine coolers out of my parents' fridge. I saw a lot of...
Not even like stealing, though. You were like allowed to have...
Not at 12, but yeah, not long after I was pretty much allowed. But I was shown a lot of adult scenarios at a very young age. And so I matured very fast. And I also lived completely on my own at 17 until now, and I'm 31. So I grew up very fast. I grew up kind of knowing what to look for, what a bad person looked like versus a good person. Like I kind of had my guard up a little bit. And I think I was better able to navigate young adulthood. Now, listen, I made a lot of dumb decisions and I look back and go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm alive and made it through that. But I did have my wits about me and my wherewithal to like be able to identify good people versus bad people for the most part. And I attribute that to my childhood and being able to be exposed to adult things at a young age. Is it good? No. But in that aspect, like, Toni and I always kind of compare our upbringings and how we are as adults, and they very much so are an accurate identifying clue to who we are now. Yeah. Or who we were more as young adults.
Right.
And so it's interesting that you were so sheltered. You weren't allowed to go to parties. I was having parties at my house at 15, 16. You weren't even allowed to go to parties. You weren't allowed to have sleepovers. I was having sleepovers on school nights. Like, these are the differences. And so when you were 17 and went away to college, you were like a fresh little, baby chicken.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know anything. You didn't know probably about a lot of the things that you then went on to experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's important. And I think raising our kids, we do want them to be probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Not overexposed to where they're seeing things that they shouldn't, but also
exposing them to real life and
knowing what's up.
Yeah.
So they can have good instincts and know what to look for.
Yeah. So the first time around, married at 19, had 2 kids, wasn't the match and for a whole slew of reasons, but then got divorced. I should have gotten divorced probably earlier, but I didn't because I think deep down it's definitely like instilled in me. I think that like marriage is like a strong commitment. I think that was probably always there.
Like your values were like, no, you fight through it. You stay married. Your parents were married for what, 20 years?
Yeah, almost 25, I think.
25 years?
Yeah. Then leaving that one and what I've learned, like I think since then. And then I ended up in another relationship that wasn't anywhere near as,
tumultuous.
Yeah. No. And so it's like you're together for 2 years. What's the next step? Is obviously get engaged, just going through the motions kind of.
Proposed, right?
She did. I said yes. Immediately, I just knew deep in my gut. I was like, no, wait, this isn't it. And I think, if I could give like advice as to, I think that some people bond over trauma.
Yeah.
And I was going through a very difficult time. My divorce took like 2.5 years.
Right.
So for 2 of those years we were together.
You and your ex.
Yeah, me and my ex. 2 of those years is when we were together and things were ugly and, you're fighting in court and custody and whatever, all the things. And I feel like we like bonded over that trauma stuff, but I am not like a trauma bound type of person. I like to live very like free and happy and at peace with everything.
Also, it was so fresh coming off of the traumatic situation you went through with your divorce and everything. So it was like, I don't even think you were processing anything. You were still in fight or flight mode. Like, got to get through this, fighting over like some serious things. And like, I don't think you were even able to be still enough to deal with the past. So you know what I mean? It's like you go to the next relationship and it's like, yeah, you fall in love, things happen, whatever, but I don't know that you were even able to give your true self to a person.
No, and you know what? You also have to like, I am a firm believer. I think that there's some people that get together when they're young. And I think that's so cool.
Right.
And like stay together for, like, we know people that met when they were 15 and they're still married and it's 25 years later and they're so happy and so obsessed with you. I think that's more rare. I definitely think for me being on like the other side of it and all the things I've gone through, I really feel like you need to, one, really fall in love with yourself before you can fall in love with someone else.
Facts.
I also think that, you know, it takes time. And I think depending on how sheltered you were, you know, I mean, I'm sure it factors on so many things.
What your life experience was.
But you need to really like learn yourself and learn the world and learn what commitments mean and what you're willing to fight for and what you're not. And, you know, and that also brings us down the road of like expectations. Like, should you have expectations of like the perfect partner and finding the right one? Or do you find somebody that you love and you kind of create these expectations of each other and go along and you like kind of grow together in that facet? So I think the bigger conversation here is like finding the right person. Is there one right person for you? Or do you kind of like mold into who your partner needs to be to a capacity? Because I feel like whenever you get with somebody, you're forever evolving and changing. You're 100%. Always growing. And you hear people say all the time, we grew apart. It's like, at what point of a marriage are you committed to forcing yourselves to grow together? Or when is it okay to be divorced? And I feel like I've gotten to a point in my life where I took marriage like so serious. And even though I was engaged
to a detriment,
before,
almost in your previous.
No, but I mean in a good way right now.
Oh,
like
now,
even
okay.
before we got married, like it meant so much to me. Even though like that sounds contradictory because I did get divorced before, but it forced me to almost like learn what it meant. I didn't understand what it meant before, how to pick the right person for me, or like what it means for you to grow together and continue to date each other. And I also think that there's like a line of like, yes, marriage is such like a strong commitment and we're going to fight through everything. And, you know, if we have to, or whatever it is. But then there's like the other side of the line that like when a relationship becomes tumultuous or dangerous, you have to leave.
Right.
That was a lot of information I threw out there.
Here's the thing. I think that you have a different perspective because obviously you were previously married. You were also engaged before we met and broke off the engagement. And then we got together and of course got married. So you've had like a lot of life experience that has allowed you to kind of figure out what you want and don't want and what works for you.
Yeah. And but it also made me like realize like how good of and strong and committed a marriage commitment friggin' is.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Love is Blind bothers me so much. I'm like, they're making it a joke and it's so serious, but it's almost like you had to go through all of these steps. It's like people could say, oh, you've been married before, so now it doesn't matter as much. Like, no, for me, it mattered 1,000 times more.
Right. Because you found the right partner and you were in love this time around and really wanted to commit to the love that our marriage had.
Yeah.
But I think that's so powerful. And like, we had very different paths. And for me, it was like, when I hear you say like married at 19, I'm like, oh my God, I was a joke at 19. Like, what was I doing?
No, I mean, I was too.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even imagine doing that at 19. And I had a very different outlook on life. Like, I was and no one taught me this. No one like embedded this in my head. This was just my perspective on life. I was like, I need to go get a career, establish myself, pursue all my dreams, then marriage, then kids. Like, I was very much in that mindset. And I think also because I saw myself in a more masculine light. And so I more looked at my dad's path.
Like being the provider.
Yeah.
Like, I speak right now.
But yeah, I think I really wanted to emulate my dad's path more than I looked at my mom for emulation. And so I was like, yeah, I need to go build this career and this path for myself to one day be able to settle down and find the perfect partner and build a life together. And it sort of happened like that. But it was like to look at the flip side, it was a lot of interesting years falling into the wrong relationships, which, you know, on a whim, any one of them could have been a previous marriage for me too, had I allowed it to get there. But I was always like, right before it got there, I was like, okay, I either gotta go.
I gotta go.
Yeah. Because I knew somewhere in my heart of hearts that it wasn't for me. But it was only because I kept myself so busy with following my dreams that like really relationships weren't the first thing on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the backlash I got from previous relationships was like,
you work too much.
You work too much. You're never in the moment. Like you're always checked out. And it's like, that was really intentional on my part because I really cared about one thing then. And that was hustling, grinding, building my career. So yeah, if I were to go back, I made a lot of mistakes and I did a lot of really stupid shit. And I'm like, I would probably change a million things, but nothing at the same time because all of that journey led me straight here to you in such an incredible marriage and relationship that I only dreamt about when I was 17, 18. I was like, wow, one day I wished for exactly what we have.
Yeah.
And
so do you think that this is for everyone out there? I feel like it's like such a trending thing right now, like finding the right one. Do you think you made almost like an expectation list of what you were looking for in a partner? Like they have to have this, and that?
Well, I wholeheartedly, from my years of serial dating, think I like was able to put together a non-existent list in my head of like a subconscious list of like what I didn't want. Because I had all that experience in dating, there were things I didn't know I didn't like until I was in it.
Right.
You know, and a lot of those things, I'm such a big proponent of like date, get out there, like experience everything because it really allows you to find out what you do want and what you don't want. And so like a lot of the big things, like just red flags that I didn't know to look for until I was in it. Like, you know, I was in a lot of relationships with a lot of insecurity and a controlling nature behind it. You know, there was people I was with where it was like, why'd you like that girl's Instagram post? Or why'd you talk to that girl at work like that? Why'd you put your hand around your friend like that? And like, it was a lot of like jealousy and control. And I was so confused because I'm a pretty trusting person, but I also just never had, you know, my intentions. Like, I'm not a cheater. I'm not one to look in any other direction when I'm in a relationship. I'm very committed. And so when I found you, and you weren't like that at all. I mean, you never questioned me. You never worry about anybody else just because our bond is so strong and you're just very secure in our relationship. And so that was one of the things that I remember meeting you. I was like, oh my God, what a breath of fresh air. That's what I want in a partner. Like I want that unparalleled trust where I don't have to explain myself every time I say something or do something. Like, you know, my true heart and my true intentions. And so that was one of the biggest lessons I learned. Mm-hmm. But I think like this stuff is only learned through experience. So
that's exactly like how I feel of being where I am right now. It's like, I look at people that maybe not that I look at them, but I just think about like getting married like young. It's like, you don't even really know who you are yet. Right. Like I'm still figuring out who I am now, but it's like, and you don't know, I think this is probably the biggest takeaway. You don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
And when I was 19, I just didn't know nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And so I think, really working on like yourself. And then I feel like your person will come because naturally when you're so secure with yourself and what you like and your world, I feel like you then attract the people that fit in nicely.
Right.
Whereas, you know, when you're going out there and you're like, I just haven't found the right one yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more like that inner work that has to be done.
I do think that. I think you find your person not when you want to, but when you're ready.
Yeah.
Because there was times in my life where I was definitely like, I don't want to be single anymore. Like I want a girlfriend. And I would go out there and I'd go on dating apps or I'd slide in DMs and I was like trying to force like a square peg in a round hole. And I think the universe or God or wherever you believe in was like, no. There's more work to do. Not yet. Whether that was now's the time to focus on your career or you're just not ready emotionally. Like I think it was maybe a combination of both for me. Like I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Wasn't ready to commit my whole life and give part of myself to another human because like you said, I just wasn't in that place mentally myself.
Right.
And it's like when we met, it was, I think, so unique because I think I was 29 when we met. 28?
I don't remember.
28 or 29. You were like 30, 31.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, my point to saying the age thing is like, we had done a lot. We had experienced a lot. And so when we met, it was like all that work that I had to do in my 20s, like, not that it's ever done because it's forever evolving, but it was like, I was happy with myself. I loved myself when I met you. And you know what I think another thing is important to state though, because there are couples that get together young and stay together forever. I think those couples have the ability to grow with each other, which is also another hard thing. But I also think they happen to be the right fit. Because you can meet the wrong person at 17 and it's just never going to work because it's not the right match.
But I feel like it's almost like twofold because like I mentioned before, like with forming a relationship over trauma bonding, but I almost feel like when it makes me think of someone very specific we spoke about this weekend. We don't have to say who it is, but they had like a traumatic upbringing and then the boyfriend came in at around 15 years old or something and like really was there and saved her. It's like you build such a strong bond
from going
not trauma bonding though. It's like different that you are like fucking committed to each other.
Yeah.
Like I am with you forever. So I forget what bringing up my point to that is.
Well, no, I think to that point, like going through the trials and tribulations with somebody can make your partnership
so strong. And like, that's all that you need. It's like, is there one right person out there for you?
Right.
Or do you find the match where you finally say, I want to be so committed with you that we are going to ride this ride together? And like,
would you ever see the story? Like it's a common theme in society where like you'll hear about the guy that doesn't want kids with the girl and they end up breaking up because one wants kids and the other doesn't. And then they get married and the next person have kids immediately. They're like, I thought you said you'd never have a kid. And that is like, it was the wrong person.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they did. And this is just an example, but it's like, it wasn't that they didn't want to have kids. They didn't want to have your kids.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's saying one is bad or the other, but like, it wasn't the right person.
Right.
And that's how I was for years. I never thought I wanted kids.
I know it makes me think of that Total Divas episode I see on YouTube all the time.
Yeah. And listen, that clip from Total Divas where, you know, my ex's mom, they were talking about kids and I was like, it was also because it was bad timing. I was like 24 and I was like not.
And like, we really have something good on our side. We're both so young.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like 24. Like, no, I'm a kid still. I have so much left to do. Like, I can't be having kids right now. So it was also wrong timing. But yeah, the second I met you and you had the girls, and I was like, I didn't think twice about you having the girls.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, I'm just saying, like, in the past, had I met someone with kids when I was in my early 20s, I may have been like,
no,
oh God, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted that responsibility. But when I met you and, you know, you said you had the girls, I didn't think twice. I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait to meet them, you know, and then we all hit it off from the beginning. But that's because you and I were right.
Yeah.
And, you know, nothing else mattered. It was like, we're going to make this work because we're going to be a family. And it did. But I've seen it so many times where, and I know a specific couple that was together for years and the guy was like, I'm not getting married. Like, there's not.
Can I guess?
No. But the person was like, I'm not getting married. It's not happening. And then you see him 5 years later married to another woman. It's like he wasn't going to get married to you. And it's not a knock on you. It's just.
Well, it could also be their own inside wasn't mature enough, didn't go through enough of the things. Like, it also has to be right timing. And
right time, right person. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think, here, I'm going to say something. I think if I met you 10 years earlier, if you were single, I don't necessarily think we would have been right for each other then. I mean, I look at pictures from you 10 years ago and you were beautiful, so I would have always thought you were hot. But I don't know that we would have been a
well, no,
match
because
then.
if you worked any more than you work right now, I wouldn't have been able to be with you.
Yeah.
So if you were any more focused on that.
I was so, yeah, well, that's exactly my point. Had you have met me 10 years ago, I was in the thick of the grind and I wouldn't have even known what to do with a woman like you.
But I'm not sure how to take that one.
It means, like, you know, there's girl. I was a kid. I was a girl. You know, I was a girl. I was dating girls, and it was fun, and it was spontaneous, and it was whatever. Like, you're a mature woman, and I knew when I met you, like, this isn't a fling. This is like love. This is the girl you marry.
Yeah.
This is the girl you put a ring on it, period. So I wouldn't have been ready for that.
Yeah, fair.
And I was in such a different place in my life, as were you at that time. But
yeah,
like I don't think it would have worked. So like, I thank God every day that you slid in my DMs.
Whatever.
Because it was an interesting time in my life where I was kind of newly single, but I wasn't looking. I was like, nah, I gotta stay single. The last one traumatized me, which is funny. The last one wasn't even public, so none of you even know who I'm talking about. For the record, it was private, and it was tumultuous. It was traumatic. It was dramatic. It was a lot of things, and I was like, I am done with dating. And then in slides Toni into the DMs and changed my whole world.
Mm-hmm. So I want to give a little bit more of a takeaway.
Tell me.
Do you feel like, so I very much, I'm sure you're going to agree, I don't even need to ask you. I feel like the relationship we have, it's like, I feel like for most people looking in, we fall in the category of like seeing it on Instagram or whatever, like every other relationship where like, oh, you just show like the best moments or the highlight reel. We really have like, I think like the greatest relationship you could possibly have.
Yes.
Not saying the greatest, like, I'm sure other people
also have great relationships.
Yes.
But yeah, we have a great relationship.
But it really is like behind the scenes, like stronger than you guys could probably even imagine unless you're in it. Yeah. Do you think we're lucky? Do you think we got very clear about our expectations before we got together? Like, I know I had a friggin' list, like, of what, remember we met, I was like, you can't sleep past 9 a.m., like,
well, you can't be in bed all day. Yeah,
can't be in bed all day. You can't drink. You can't whatever. Like, it was definitely like.
Wait, let's talk about that list because that's funny. Can we talk about how? And let's not identify one of your relationships specifically, but in the past, you had been in relationships where the partner was not very motivated, lazy, maybe drank a lot, didn't have the best. Those were things that you recognized in the past and we're like, I want the opposite of that. Can we laugh now how we laugh about the fact that you found the opposite? I can't sit still, I don't stop working.
I asked for it.
You asked for it.
The universe gave it to me. Yeah. Yeah.
But you take that over obviously the ultimate.
Of course. But
so go ahead, your list. It was non-negotiables.
Eat healthy.
Okay.
Don't really drink.
Yep.
Wake up early.
Yeah.
Is a big one.
Not be in bed all day.
Was there more than that? Just like be a motivated person. I don't care what you're motivated to do.
Yeah.
You just like care to do something.
Facts. I think honesty was something you wouldn't identify that you were looking for, but hearing everything you've said to me, I think you were with a lot of people that lied to themselves.
Yeah.
About who they were.
Blanketed, I think all of them. And I think most people do that.
Right. And I think you were craving like transparency and honesty, like realness. And I think you found that.
Yeah.
Like someone that does what they say they're going to do.
Yes.
Right? That's a big one.
Yeah, which is not something I would have I wouldn't have known.
I know, yeah.
Add it to your list of things you learn about me that I don't know about myself.
Yes.
Definitely. But it's just like so interesting. It's like, is it because you were so specific? You know, they say with any goal, you need to like have your goal and then work backwards and get out like specifics. If I want to lose this much weight by this date, how much cardio do I have to do every day? How many calories do I have to eat every single day? How much of those calories have to come from protein? Like you're breaking that down to the formula to get you to that goal. It's like, did we just get so clear about what we wanted?
Yeah.
That we found it? Or is that really not... Do you almost have to have Tony Robbins feeling on it and go into it and be like, when you don't have any expectations, you can't get let down?
I do believe in that sentiment in life, but I don't think that was it. I think it was, we had both been through so much life experience. We got specific about what we were looking for, and neither one of us was settling for less. You'd been through too much. I was like, too much.
I will never settle ever again for any single thing in the rest of my life.
But I think that's why you had the guts to break off an engagement, because breaking off an engagement can't be easy. I can't imagine it been in that situation, but you'd been through too much up to that point to settle for anything less than what you wanted. Wholeheartedly.
I was coming home and I was like, sitting in my driveway after working all day. I was at the gym at 3 a.m. and I was like, pulling up to my house. I'm like, I don't even want to go inside because I don't want to deal. And I was like, what am I doing, Toni? Absolutely not. You have been through way too much to be feeling like this. No way.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't go through that much of the trauma that you did, but I had gone through enough shitty experiences and shitty relationships that I was like, I'm not dealing with that either. I had been put in some predicaments that I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. But when I met you, there was like an instant feeling, and we talk about this a lot, like of like calmness and stillness, because you were safe and I knew that you would protect my heart the way that I would protect yours. And that was something that I never found in the past. I dealt with a lot of people that like, maybe they wanted to love me the way that they thought was right, but like they didn't know good love either. Like they didn't know true love or healthy love. And I just wanted a healthy relationship. I didn't want the drama and the fireworks and the bullshit, but I wanted that real strong love that could transpire throughout our lives and grow.
So date. Don't settle. It doesn't mean if you don't want to be with somebody, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It doesn't have to end on bad terms.
Right.
But it just means like,
don't settle.
Build your list, I think. Like, don't create a fictitious person that now you're going to be alone forever. Like in Practical Magic, one blue eye, one brown. Okay. But I think that you need to go through experiences, and you also need to be so secure with yourself, because you know what? No one wants to be in a relationship where you're like jealous all the time, or like the girl's always looking crazy. Everyone says like the crazy girl because she's jealous over everything. Like, I think if we all do that, like, get so secure with yourself, the right person will come at the right time, and know the universe is always working for you, not to you. And if you just like hold like ground for that, like know that when you do the work, the good things will come to you instead of looking for it or forcing it.
Just not settling, like not allowing I like how you said hold the ground, like stay grounded in knowing that you know what you want and you know your expectations, and just don't settle for anything less. Be formidable in the sense that no one's perfect, and don't seek perfection, but wait for the right one. Figure your shit out. Have your bags ready. Meaning, no, that's not what I meant. I know what you're thinking. Have your bags ready. Meaning, secure your bag, your money in the bank. Have your own career. Have your own thing going on so that you don't need anyone for the wrong reasons. And if you need to get out, you can go. Okay? Yeah. Have a little piggy bank. Have a little something to lean on.
But don't commit to somebody until
you're ready.
Yeah. Don't force it. Don't think that there's a timeline.
Are you ready for what you forgot we were doing today?
No.
I'm doing it today. Sour challenge.
Whatever you want. Oof. I totally forgot. My mouth is instantly watering.
Mine too. Mine's been salivating because I thought about it like 45 seconds ago.
Totally forgot about the sour challenge.
Grab them. They're right there. I'll do it.
I'm not prepared.
All right, getting to the favorite part of the episode. This is our sour candy challenge because we are unwrapped. We're unwrapping some candy. We're doing the final boss sour candy today. These are Chewies. These are level 3s, and they're sour. I'm going to put this whole handful in my mouth. This is going to suck. My beautiful wife's going to give me a topic, and I'm going to go on a rant about it.
The elf on the shelf, and you have to move it every night, 30 days before Christmas. Ready?
Freaking elf on the shelf.
Let's go.
Oh! Elf on the shelf. I got a message to you, the guy that invented this or the girl that invented this. I don't wanna. I'm not Santa Claus, okay? I didn't sign up to hide little presents and play little tricks on kids 30 days leading up to Christmas, okay? We got presents to wrap, presents to buy, decorations to lug out of the attic and down from the basement. We got a lot of shit going on during that season. But you had to go out and create a little fictitious character that I know. Not only one, then you made a wife, you made kids, you made little dog elf on the shelves. Now I gotta go buy all those and make them do various things around my house during the holiday season when I'm busy working, okay? And not to mention, if we get busy one night and forget to move that thing, now I have to explain to my kid why you didn't move. Why my little elf on the shelf didn't go from the 20-foot hanging chandelier in my foyer to under the kitchen table overnight, okay? And I gotta make up some dumb excuse about how the elf on the shelf was tired last night and doesn't love you. Okay? I'm over it. Christmas is enough. And then, on top of that, let's talk about the boo baskets that you created this year, TikTok. All of a sudden, every holiday becomes about giving your kid a basket filled with hundreds of dollars worth of little knickknacks that I'm gonna have to throw away when they're not looking. Boo baskets. Okay? Easter, Valentine's Day, Halloween. These are all supposed to be like gift-free holidays. Nope, not anymore. Thanks to you guys on social media, we have to spend hundreds of dollars every holiday on our children. Thank you.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Ugh. Elf on the shelf, boo baskets, Easter baskets. Too much.
With all of them.
I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Unwrapped, talking about finding your soulmate.
And we will see you next time. I'm Daria.
And I'm Toni. Bye, guys.